Moderation helps everyone. Choose who can participate. Okay. Aum Mani. Heart followers of the world. It has been quite some moments since I have come on here live. And, well, I've just been blessed with so much abundance, and there's been so many beautiful things transpiring that I just felt it's time to go live and to start sharing these stories and get the information and that heart coherence message out there. So alas, let's see what transpires. And with love and gratitude for all of the lands, all of the spirits seen and unseen, all of the helpers, all of the thank you prayers that acknowledge everything in existence extensively. I am not going to do that elongated version, but for those of you who know it, it involves thanking from everything from the plants to the ones who fly and the ones who crawl and the ones who creep and the everything, the elements and all. So yeah, thank you to the helpers, the female and the male duck mouths that are on my head, and the Cooper hawk as well, and to everyone and everything along my journey, for all of those in the Ahatipe tribe, medicine tribe, who heard my call recently for assistance to be able to align with this fairy tale story of reuniting with someone I have loved for a long time, and we haven't seen each other for 5 years. So at the 888 Lionsgate portal, I just had this feeling that, and I communicated it to this beautiful man, that I feel like any day that I'm not beside him feels like I'm living a lie. So, hey. God, I'm Irani. Hiya, aloha. Wherever you are all, welcome. I'm here to share some stories and some things that have been happening because I felt the call. So may these journeys and bits of information be of service. So first of all, I was thanking this community that I posted that I'm on this journey to reunite with this man that I love, and I was asking for financial assistance, as him and I have both focused on being of service and not amalgamating money. And so when and if we need it, it shows up in different ways, and we have trusted that, and we have given our lives in service and envisioned a world without money. And so we've both been living in a different awareness and a different realm of reality. So it was interesting, after I made this post and shared about this story, I had this curiosity of how many people would actually resonate and contribute from the heart to support Divine Union, because I called it Donate to Divine Union. And I have believed that the divine union of a male and a female counterpart coming together, or even a male and a male, or a female and a female, whatever bodies we are in, that there is one other being that is in existence that nobody else can compare to. And when we come together, we can co-create something absolutely potent and beautiful. And any energies and forces that have wanted to keep love apart and keep people away from their own center of source and connection to the divinity that we already are, benefit from divine unions not taking place. And so, interestingly enough, I was brought to somebody yesterday who but to finish that thought first, so I was curious about how many people would actually contribute to the offer, or the opportunity to contribute to divine love and the unification of such a journey. And the request was just to help assist with covering basic nourishment and assist with a flight so we could come together and start our lives together and get married. Um, and so I was curious because some people will respond to emergency, like my dog broke its leg and we need to have an emergency surgery, and people will come up, or we don't have room for money for rent. And so I was just curious, like, wow, I wonder how many people would support the journey of love and be inspired just by that open, heartful intent. And I could hear in the collective all of these judgments of, like, how old are you and what have you been doing and why can't you provide for yourself, and all of these things that really are man-made. And even just, coming back to what I was saying just now about, I met somebody who they at the 888 Lionsgate portal, they had people started to want to marry this person, and someone that had loved them since they were 19 years old had been wanting to be this person's caregiver and provider, and have them be the partner to their child and have a family together. And this person was very resistant, and I could understand why, based on their past experiences in this life, and how they grew up and what all of the stories were. And you'll notice that I'm not giving specifics of he or she or names, because ultimately we're all one, and so it's merely just an experience and energy. But as we were interacting, I was assisting in reprogramming the power of the words of this person to cast spells and stop telling stories of the past that were causing them distress and harm, and going backwards, as opposed to casting new spells of, wow, I have this beautiful future of this person that loves me and they're expressing their love. And they were so adamant about resisting, and no, like, I have to make my income first, and I have to have this, and I have to fix my teeth, and I have to, be skinnier, and I have to be all these things before, like, and this person will wait for me. And I understood. While I understood, there was a part of me that was so frustrated. Like, do you guys not realize, or maybe you don't realize, so let me refresh. There is nothing more potent than us being in alignment and divine union within self, and another being in divine union with themselves, and coming together and co-creating an energy. That is so powerful. And that energy can create miracles and magic that is just undeniable and is unstoppable. So we can do that on our own. So let alone the evolution of what we're going through as a species, coming together and focusing on divine union and having that be where we put our energy, and having people come together in love within self, and then uniting with a mate that is like, you were one star that burst into two, and you're on this journey back towards each other. So this has been the romantic fairy tale, if you want to call it, version of existence that I have chosen to believe in. Some people call it twin flames, twin souls. There's many soulmates, there's many different things. But at my core of my being, in my experience, and also from my remembering of my life in Mintakan, which was a planet that we have created newly from a place of love. But the original one is no longer in existence, because just like in history, there are planets that have imploded, exploded, or been destroyed for all kinds of reasons, all kinds of storylines, all kinds of tales. But my specific journey was that myself and my mate in Mintakan, we were the key holders to the sound of love, and our hearts unified together were the source of what was creating this whole planet. It was fully sound, all water, crystal clear waters, and all we knew was love and deep connection and telepathy. And what had transpired, the timeline and the story, and when I was on Mintakan before it was destroyed, was that the beings that wanted to take this power to the sound of love, or this power of love, this energy, they broke through the sound waves came through in such a way that our elders and our council knew that something was coming. And in that, um, in my body, in that world, I knew also that something was coming, and the council was unwilling to tell the people. They didn't want them to be alarmed, and they also didn't understand what was happening because it was something that we'd never experienced. And I couldn't understand why they wouldn't let the people know, and they couldn't understand my point of view. And so, even in this physical body, in this lifetime, I couldn't understand other people's perspectives. And so it was a big thing when I finally had a healing in this lifetime of a sister who could speak light language, and one of these council elders came in. We harmonized and we could see and understand each other's point of views. All of a sudden in this life, I could really understand other people much better. So we have so many reasons why we are who we are and what we are, essentially. So all these shamanic practices and all these explanations about past lives, like all of these are energy, and all of them have such a potent power to them. So regardless of what beliefs are, this has been my path. And so what happened was, as they were approaching and breaking through the sound waves, when they finally did come, coming back to the story of what happened, it was an instant disconnection. It's like if you only knew love, and then all of a sudden you looked at the person you love and there was nothing between you anymore, and it almost like instant insomnia, an instant cold from warm and cozy and connected to disconnected, is essentially also what music that is being broadcasted in the media at 440 as opposed to 432 hertz does. It causes an instant disconnection and distortion in people's fields so that you can't feel at ease and calm. So I highly recommend, for those who are truly paying attention, to start playing, if you're a musician, only at 432 hertz. Any orchestra member, symphony member also can. Horns, everything's possible. It's just a matter of retuning and practicing and listening, and then sending that frequency out in a quarter of a step down. Alas, so coming back to the story, we're going to cover many topics here. Whatever's going to come out is going to come out. So they came in through the sound waves, everyone was disconnected, and all of a sudden I started to, and I had 3 or 4 several healings of where I remembered all these happenings of what happened on the planet. And so our people started dying instantaneously, just dropping dead because of such a distortion. And in this lifetime, I felt like from a young age, felt like I was carrying all this love that was meant for everybody in existence, and I had no idea how to convey it, and I felt constantly frustrated because it was like it was locked away and I didn't know what to do with it. And I felt this guilt, like because I didn't speak up, it's my fault that everybody died. And so I was carrying this massive guilt that everyone on the planet died, and the planet was no longer because of me. So I was carrying all of these things in this lifetime unconsciously, and it was really hindering my ability to function in a good way, but it was on such subtle levels, and the healings didn't come until they were meant to. One of the healings happened, 2 of them happened around the same time, actually, all 3 of them. Somebody at the Envision Festival, we were at one of the stages, he was doing some body work for someone, and then we noticed each other, and he was making his way towards me, and then someone else came and asked him for assistance, so he paused, and then when he finally came to me, he started working on my body from head, shoulders, all the way, and then ended up at the very end on my left hand. And when he finally reached my left hand and he started to push and start to move the energy and massage the muscles, I started having these massive convulsions, and I was doing my best to control how much my body was twitching and shaking, but everyone who was around us instantly moved away because the energy was so intense. And I was trying not to flail and twitch too much and be more conservative, but it was really painful. And as he was massaging my hand, the memory that I had was that my partner's heart at Mintakan was actually physically extracted from him while he was alive and he was holding my hand. And so he transferred the energy of his half to the key to the sound of love into my being. So now I was fully carrying it in my presence. And these beings didn't realize that this was not an energy that they could take by force, nor could they take it at all. It was a heart energy, a heart coherence that could not be siphoned or replicated or taken. It was an expression of love and like floating in the ethers and not capturable. So it was very obviously traumatic to be disconnected from my partner and have them die like that. And you know, there's a part of me that that feels like there's an importance of not retelling these old stories and to tell new timelines and new storylines, because if we keep telling stories of the past and the pains and the traumas, we like keep feeding it. But I haven't broadcasted this story specifically, and there was a moment when I was in Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, when I came to this beautiful space that was doing kirtan, where I was being prompted to express that I'm from Mintakan and I'm bringing codes, and I wasn't able to get the words out and went in a different trajectory. And so there's been so many ways in my being where I have wanted to share things, but it was like something was constantly holding me back, holding me back. And so today I'm also sharing in this because I just felt that I was getting a prompt and a reminder from the being that I love, who I've been wanting to reunite with and to co-create a new existence with and get married and live this fairy tale, beyond fairy tale bliss of an existence, and have our divine union be this phenomenal journey, and a beacon for all divine unions to know what's possible. And merely by presence, that is enough to activate it within others and to remind others of what is possible. So that's what happened in Mintakan in that lifetime. And I'm at peace with it now, and I've moved through those energetics, but I was holding so much trauma of seeing my people die, of feeling like it was my fault, of not understanding why I couldn't understand others' point of views, and so now I can. And all of the Mintakan beings showed up on the coastline of Costa Rica, and we created a new planet. And at the time, what was vocalized was, we need to make sure that we create this planet and have it protected. And what came through my being is, no, it's not necessary, because all of those timelines and all of those experiences in existence that were horrific, or those no longer need to be recreated. We can create purely from oneness, and everything is in harmony. And so in that realm where everything is loving kindness, compassion, and love in the high frequency, in that itself, there is no need to create from any kind of fear or concern. It merely is a bubble of love in itself and at a high frequency. So anything that vibrates lower will automatically not be able to connect with it. And so some of you, most of you, may have heard that the earth, there's a separation happening for humanity, our species. And I'm just gonna make a note here. I was gifted this phone by a brother along my journey. I've been gifted many things on my journey from Canada down here, on this path to reunite. And this phone is a US phone that was paid for a month, but it's already giving me "you've used data" warnings. So my intention was to utilize the last of this data to send this transmission out, and whoever and whatever is meant to receive it will. So as much as I can share before it clocks out or the battery dies, whatever will be, will be. Tama Kwitsi in the Scoutmish, in the Squamish Nation in BC, north of Vancouver in the mountains, Scoutmish, the tribe. Tama Kwitsi, que sera, sera, what will be, will be. Thank you to the elder who shared that with me. Alas, coming back to the storyline. So ultimately, I have felt like, in part, my partner lives within me, and there's been moments where I feel my partner's spirit in my body, and he can physically move one side of my body. There's a brilliant movie called All of Me from 1982 or 83, I believe, and it's this concept where this really rich woman who's really young, but she's been sick all her life and in bed and never had any friends. She's dying, and she has this guru from Tibet who can help her soul transfer into this younger woman's body so that she's just transferred over. And so, in this concept, when I saw this, I had already had experiences where, when I united with this beautiful mate partner in the past, he was in my body and able to, we were fully psychically connected, and he was able to move my body and take over functionality. And so, this movie was a really beautiful visualization because the movie's really cute. She doesn't end up going, the soul doesn't go into the body that it was intended to. It ends up going into a man instead. And so this man now has this woman, and you know, the protagonist and the antagonist are living in one body, and it ends up being this phenomenal, beautiful love story. But she controls the right side of his body and he controls the left, and so there's this big journey that they go on in trying to get her body back into the proper body, so that she can continue living. But in the end, well, I'm not going to express the ending, but anyway, that's the basis. So, yeah. Are there any questions so far? Oh, there's... Let's see. Hello from Canada. Hi. Yes. So, all of these feathers are in honor of my First Nations ancestry, and when we wear a headdress, it's a way to connect with the animals as they have pure energy and spirit. And so, whether or not you understand what I'm saying, at some point in time, if you are here, it will resonate and register in the moment that it's meant to. Our souls and everything is one, and everything is connected in a moment and a time when it is meant to align. And so, the Heart Followers channel is a network of people around the world who share resources and who share homes all over the world. And you can only access them synchronistically through the magic and through living in the heart, in the love frequency. So it's like Airbnb or couch surfing, only minus any kind of booking. It's naturally scheduled by the universe. And yeah, life is extremely magical, and there are so many beautiful things to share. So coming back around to the story about what I was saying earlier of meeting this person who was resisting their divine union, by the end of it, we were able to come to a point where they were open to allowing this other person to love them and seeing them in person and coming together. And so it was such an honor for me, because earlier in the day, prior to them coming together, they had shared with me, you know, before you had actually come up to me, I was actually just finishing a conversation with my mother, and I was going to go and commit suicide in the ocean. So that was really something, you know, to hear this person share that and to get the depth of what they were going through, and to bring them back to that place of being open to love. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just talk about this whole idea of suicide. Mahasamadhi is a practice that is well known in India, Tibet, and other places in the world, where one consciously chooses to leave the body, and you leave it in a way where you do certain breathwork, certain meditation practices, and your soul consciously leaves the body and your body's unharmed. In some cases, the body can shrink and turn into a doll size, and the soul shoots out like a rainbow. In other ways, the body does get smaller, or the soul just leaves and the body stays the same. There's so many different expressions, and these are things that people have also seen and recorded and documented. So if you really wanted to find out more, you can look up Maha Samadhi. Now, um, it's interesting because we all have opportunities to leave our body. We all have different exit doors at different times, and some people leave their body, they die, and then they come back. And when they die, there's all of these people that you can also look up online of people who have died and gotten messages from the other side, or seen what's really true on the other side and come back and been messengers of, this is just Maya, this is just illusion, and actually we're in spirit, just dreaming that we have forgotten, and this is the real, what is that? What is that? Well, like, this earth walk is like the VR experience. So we come from spirit and we go into this body and we're living this dream, like we've forgotten that everything is perfect and beautiful and connected and one. So some of you, or most of you will probably know the Matrix, and essentially, no matter what movies or stories have been told, everything is a collective consciousness. And no matter who it comes through, the information's accessible by everybody. So what are we really up to? What are we really doing here? Yeah. But what I want to touch on is finances. One of the things I said to this person who was resisting uniting with their partner, their divine union, was that they wanted to make sure that they had finances and being independent, because they couldn't allow themselves to take money from their partner, and they had all these reasons. But ultimately, if money didn't exist and you're in love with someone, whatever you have, whether it's food, shelter, you just share what you have. So money does exist. So why is it then that we choose to deem that somebody needs to be showing or expressing that they are independent, or that they are capable and or worthy of being a certain status or a certain way based on how much money they have? It is such a crock of crap. So, oh, thank you, by the way, to whoever commented. What is this? 3 words: batshit crazy. Bats are beautiful beings, by the way. And shit is also part of oneness. And crazy, I have definitely enjoyed being on the crazy spectrum of not what some people call normal, for people who use normal or abnormal. And it's understandable that when people don't understand something, or they're confused by something, that they want to name it or express that it is something, instead of being curious and instead of being open, to try to demean it or put it down. That in itself, I send so much love and compassion to you, because I remember a time when I also responded that way. So thank you for your true expression. And to me, it's merely just a reflection and a projection of what's going on for you, and it's a part of me as well. So as much as I can relate to it, I also know that nothing is personal. Things are only merely programming and not personal, and everything is energy, everything is frequency, and everything in our human experience is based off of our belief and comes from within. So many of you already know this, and like I said, my intention of coming on today to the Heart Followers portal is to say thank you also to all the people who have supported me on my journey. The last 5-6 years felt like I fell back asleep, was hijacked, my creative energy was being siphoned, and I went through this whole experience, though, as Muji reminds us, you cannot fool the divine. If there is a play or something that needs to happen, it will also happen for a reason, and it needs to play out for whatever reason. And so ultimately, I'm just so thankful for every bit of up and down and joy and sadness in this life. And it's so nice to really come back to that state, like when I was a younger version in this body, where people in school would ask me, like, oh, so and so was talking about you, don't you care? And I would say, well, why would I care? Happy or sad, life is very simple. Happy or sad, you got to live it. So I just choose to be happy, and what other people say about me is not my business. So it's not about me, anyways. That's just your own projection and your own mentality of how you perceive and see the world, and then send it out. So ultimately, we're all beautiful, unique beings, and I'm so excited to celebrate a world that we're co creating where we choose to be curious about all these unique individuals that we each are, and celebrate all of the differences and uniquenesses that we are, and continue to open our heart coherence and bring our mind into ease and calmness so that it can rest and support the heart mind, as opposed to trying to dictate and determine and manipulate or suppress the coherence of the heart. And so this is what our species is going through right now, is the evolutionary process. And for some people, they're not interested in evolving into a world where there is no war, there is no pain, there is no suffering, and all souls all souls have free will to determine how and what you want to experience. And it's, I couldn't understand it at first. Like, how can everything be separating, and how are we on different timelines? Like, you've seen Marvel movies, many of you, I'm sure, that express the multiverse and show you there's different timelines and different dimensions, and there's enough space and existence for everything to be. And the thing is that we're in a space and at a place where if you're not you're wherever you're vibrating is the timeline that you will experience. And the moment you choose a new neural pathway, you make a new choice, you break an old pattern, you are instantaneously on a new timeline, a new Earth. If there's billions, zillions of different versions of Earth, the moment you transition into a higher frequency of, okay, I believe in a planet where we all share all of the resources, nobody pays for food, nobody pays for housing, and everyone moves around the planet joyfully, doing what they want, creating art, sharing, period, then that's what you will experience. And those who want to be consistent or persistent on not being responsible for self and giving their sovereignty or the responsibility of who and what they are and what they do with their energy and their being to governments or politics or whoever, whatever outside of themselves, whatever you want to call those energies or entities, then they will experience the lives where that is the case, where you don't live in harmony with what is. You're not responsible 111% for yourself, and you allow other people to dictate or determine who and what you are and what you can or can't do, and all these rules and regulations, which are all just made up and are all just a distraction, because essentially nobody has dominion over anybody else. Everyone is a sovereign being, and that's that. And it is, I recall for myself, it was so overwhelming when I realized that I had to be responsible for myself. And back in 2013, when I looked at my life and I looked at how much work there was to do, it's like I could just see how far I had to go. And it was so daunting. I was absolutely appalled, and just like I couldn't even fathom how much work it was going to take to be fully responsible for myself. It was like some part of me knew how far away from being light and love I was. But ultimately it was like, well, if I don't start doing the work, no one else is going to do it, nothing's going to change, and I'm going to continue being miserable. And I was already at a point where I had no imagination, no creativity, only deep sadness or anger or zombie mode. And my body, I couldn't feel sensations in my body anymore. I was so sick, so unwell in so many ways at those moments that that was that, like, tip of the iceberg, or that was that like final straw of I need to make a change, and propelling me into following my heart as a way of life and leaping and trusting that the universe would catch me. And yeah, and so I've literally been traveling around the world. I started in Vancouver, BC, Canada, where I was, and I just started sharing my gifts and my skills, naturally exchanging for room and board and food, and just assisting in different ways where I can or where I could. And I said to the universe, just send me wherever I'm needed or wherever I need to be. And please, eventually I realized, we're the creators of our life. And so I choose a life where I create no bills, and I choose a life where everywhere I go, the nourishment that my body needs at those moments will be there. Everything is provided. And recently, along this journey to get to this moment, there was a song that came through, and it goes like this. All my needs are met. Life's a breeze, yep, I am set. Easier with every breath. How much more magical will life get? And so that is mantra that I started to sing, and those were the words that I chose to program. And so everywhere I've been going, people have handed me money in the moments that I needed food, and without me even needing to ask. So I created that also, so my subconscious latched onto that and went, oh, okay, great, I don't even need to ask, and things are given to me, and I am ever abundant, and I am wealthy in all ways, and my bank account is fuller and always overflowing to the places and spaces where the money is needed. And I always have more than enough, and I am living in a way that is in balance and harmony with the luxuries of the human experience at its fullest and finest, and also honoring the simplicity and the basics. And so I've been doing my best to learn all these different teachings and preachings and from prophets and spiritual healings and all these things that have been in existence, and basically go, how can I just be someone who, even if I don't say anything, so long as someone is around me, they can receive it. And ultimately, that's what all of the ancient ones, prophets, or any of these higher beings that have come to Earth to assist our species do. They radiate a high frequency, and they share presence. Some speak, some, perform different things, but ultimately it's all about presence. And so I've been working so hard to learn how to be fully responsible for every thought, everything I say, everything I do, and program into my feet that everywhere I step with peace and love, and I kiss the earth with my feet in gratitude, and reprogram every iota of all my cells and all my being, so that I am only ever radiating loving kindness and compassion and peace and unity consciousness to everyone and everything without exception. And at a certain point, a few years back, I realized that everyone was already doing everything that needed to be done. And I felt like this sense of, I don't need to chase being a singer or being, producing or creating all these things. So what do I really need to do? What really needs to be done in existence that hasn't been done, or what can I do? And so what I realized was, the animation Home. It is such a cute animation where these alien species come and they take over planet Earth and put all the humans into concentration camp. Huh? And this one alien is super crazy, and everyone thinks it's batshit crazy, and nobody can relate to him. And he's just like, super self-expressed. Hello. But at some point, when he's moving into his new house that the human has been evicted from, he wants to throw this big party, and so he wants to send an email to everybody, but instead of just sending it to all his people, his creatures and beings, he sends it to the entire galaxy, which they're running from these so-called bad other species who are chasing after them for some unknown reason, which turns out to be because they stole something from them, which has all of the babies for their future population. Yeah. For those who haven't seen the movie, it's this like egg-shaped thing that the ruler of this alien planet is using as a specter, and like using it to bonk people in the head, and has no idea actually what it is, but stole it from these other creatures, and it's their babies. So these other creatures are chasing them because of that, to get it back, because that is the rest of their population future existence in this egg rock thingy. So he sends this email, and it's really cute. This graphic is like the email's going do 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 do, and it's making its way to these so-called bad other alien species. So I took that thought, and I took this Tibetan knowing of loving kindness and sending loving kindness and compassion to all, which a lot of temples do. They chant and they call in different spirits, and they're constantly working to harmonize and bring peace to all beings and all spirits. And that's what these temples and all these mantras and chants and these monks and priestesses and such are doing. So I took those concepts, amalgamated them, and what I did with my essence and my spirit and my energy was I went, okay, I envisioned sending all of my essence, unconditional love without exception, to anyone and everything that had never experienced loving kindness, unity consciousness, love, and sent my being out to deliver it to beyond infinity, all of existence, period. So that if they never had that opportunity, or there's any being that ever missed out in some of these chants or prayers, or there was anything being withheld from any iota of existence, that it would have the opportunity to experience love and choose light and choose to have a new experience instead of being locked in some dark dimension. And yeah, so all of this is just the collective consciousness coming through me and moving through my being in perhaps a batshit crazy way for some people, and perhaps in an ingenious way for others. But regardless of what way it is, I don't really care what people call it or how people call it. I'm just sharing the way in which I've experienced it, because ultimately that's all I can do, is share who and what I am. And ultimately, I really do not care what other people think, because what you think is not my business. What you think of me is not my business. And all I know is that I exist. Or really, do I exist? Do we exist? Is there really anyone other than just ourself outside of ourself, and we're just merely projecting and mirroring and projecting and drawing experiences to ourselves and creating roles that other people play based on our perception? I mean, there's many ways that we can put it. But yeah. Let's see. Said hi. Hi. Is there a way to wave? I have not used this live thing for a while. If you're still here, Ada and Charlie, if anyone has any questions for me, I've been nomadic now over a decade, over 10 years, moving around the earth and offering my heart and my services and blessings to the best of my abilities, and sharing things called Zen My Den and Flow Chi and all different kinds of creations. And yeah, so if you have any questions that you have about people or traveling around the world, I'm going to name some places I've been to, and if there's something that calls out to you, let me know, and I can share around that topic. So let's see. I've been to Africa, lots of European countries, China, lived in Costa Rica for many years, and yeah. I see the question. You is a boy. I am a female in this body, in this lifetime. I just happen to have no hair. But I do have breasts, and I do have a vulva, a yoni, naturally from birth. So I am a womb man, which originally woman came from a wombed man, because we have wombs, obviously, and we are able to bring in a spirit into our body and bring life onto the planet. So, let's see. Is there anything else? Amy. Let's see. That is pretty much all that I wanted to share. So, as I was preparing, since there's no questions at this moment, as I was preparing to come onto this live feed, I was just looking at all of the abundant gifts that I have. This passport holder that says life is good. And I added this sticker, these 2 stickers that were gifted to me, and it says, I love you, you're a miracle. And inside there's feathers. And I was gifted sandals and shoes, and I had some jasmine tea bags, and I had some charging cords and charging port things, and a book. Just these items that I felt it was time to share the blessings. And so I put them on a bench and I wrote a little note that said, we are free gifts in joy, so that anyone who passes, if they see something that they want or need, can take one. There's also a sweater that is half silk and half linen, and 2 bags. One is this really cute panda backpack, and one is this cool African fabric bag. And yeah, I just I felt like it was a good opportunity to share. And yeah. So there's a technique that I would love to share for anybody who's here or anybody who watches at a different point in time. And the technique is you place your hands on your heart. And someone who shares about this is Greg Braden, and there's many other people who share different breath techniques and different healing modalities and different ways to connect to your heart. But one way that works really simple that anyone can do, and even if you don't have hands, you can just imagine hands going on top of your heart, or just focus on your heart, whether you have limbs or not. But if you do, one hand over the heart and the other hand on top of that one, and you're just going to inhale into your heart for 5 seconds. Then you're going to hold your breath for 4 seconds and focus the energy up here, focus your attention here, and then you're going to exhale for 8 seconds. Yeah. So, that is one way to come into your heart center. And if you are feeling anxiety or what some people call stress, which really isn't stress, it's just a misalignment of energies, then that is one way to do it. Yeah. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm going to do 2 more of those and see if there's anyone else who pops up, or if there's any questions, or if there's any other information to share after these other breaths. So, and if not, then I will conclude after this. So if you'd like to join me we'll do 3 breaths all together. That way they're consecutive. I'm going to snap my fingers for the counts, and may this assist you to feel in harmony and well in all cells, eternally evermore. And first breath. And then just allow yourself to breathe in whatever natural way feels best for you. Keeping your eyes closed. And when you feel ready, slowly allow them to blink open and come back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers and your toes if you need to. Fully feel your body and bring your spirit back in. And one way to call yourself back into your body fully anytime you need to, when you wake up in the morning or before you go to sleep at night, especially if you've been dreaming, is you say your first and last name that you were given from birth and you say come back. So Keisha, Poking, Claire, Gerard, come back. Keisha, Poking, Claire, Gerard, come back. Keisha, Poking, Claire, Gerard, come back. Whew. All right. Thank you for joining me for that. As I was breathing, something that came up to share for me is I was really focused on the light and staying positive and keeping a high vibration, high frequency. And because of that, there were things that I didn't want to talk about, and I didn't really know how to process, or they seemed like they were negative. But there were times when I really struggled, and even with this Heart Followers portal, this mission, at a certain point, I didn't know how to be a leader of it, or how to communicate when I wasn't doing okay, or how to ask for help. And so I stepped away from the platform for quite some time, and I felt like I I didn't know how to have it serve more people, or to allow it to be monetized in a way that was good for others but still provided basics for what I needed. And as I didn't want to play the money game. I just wanted to share and be a beacon of sharing freely and trusting that what I needed will be provided. And I do feel and I do know that. And there's also a part of me that, there's this part that has really never believed that I could experience having millions of dollars easily accessible. Like, I didn't have the ability to conjure that, or to experience that, or do that. And then another part that felt like that's not my mission, and I'm not meant to have that experience, but yet a part that also wanted to, so that I could overflow it to tons of other people. And then all of this guilt and shame around, offering so much, so openly, so freely, so lovingly. And some part of me, because of this program in society, or the system of, you need to monetize it or do it this way or that way, so that you have it set up so you have a what's that kind of income that just comes in automatically without you even having to do anything with it. What's that term? That kind of income. I have a feeling you know what I'm talking about. Basically, while you're sleeping, the money just keeps coming in, and people can just live like freely. Um, Doing what they do. I'm being pulled by the cuteness of the children and not fully present now. There's these two twin girls that both have these bundles of hair on their head. One's in a pink dress and one's in a green dress, and they're playing with the sand. Anyways, but I was sharing about this because I felt like I believed that what I was doing wasn't enough and wasn't making a difference, and I felt this shame that I hadn't been able to create the platform in a way where all of my basic needs were met, and that I had failed, or I didn't, play the game right, or wasn't successful. Just ultimately, because of the beliefs that are imposed upon of, by a certain age you should be able to, be independent, even though everything is interdependent, and, never have to ask anyone for everything and be able to take care of yourself in all ways. And I really felt a struggle because I was also wanting to live in a way where I never had to touch money anymore. So all these different belief systems of like, we don't need money, and how would it be to live in a world where money doesn't exist? And this is something that the man that I love, was someone that posed that question, was the one who posed it to me. Um, and also, what would it be like? I really love this one of original awareness. What would it be like if the basis of consciousness for every human, every species, was that we are one? What would life be like? And this is what I've ultimately been living to embody, is being oneness. uh, and yeah, um, I feel like, there's some there's some desire to be able to say, like, yeah, I've done that. I've done something and shared myself in such a way where I have successfully generated a consistent, massive income, and I can, like so many others, overflow it to other people and assist other people. And sometimes I've just felt really mind boggled at, like, what is the key that I'm missing? Because I also created long ago that at some point I will just be sponsored, and money will flow in unexpected ways, period. Because there's tons of people who have amazing amounts of finances, and they're just looking for places to direct it. And so that's always how I saw the heart followers going, that we have a special bank account, where 10 members are the guardians of this account, and the account functions on trust, fun, and love. And anything under a million, 3 members need to know where the money's going, send prayer and intention, and off the money goes. Anything over a million, all 10 members need to set the prayer and intention, and then off the money goes. And whether it's to build wells in places to have cleaner water, whether it's to support artists who need community homes to live together and to be able to create their art, or whatever have you, so long as money exists, to move money and redistribute wealth in a great way. And it's really been a big journey for me to learn how to express my truth and honor it and share it and not hide, and also not go back to sleep. um, and also stand for what I believe in and the vision that I've had. And but yeah, I've been, honestly, meditating has allowed me, just like many others, to stay in a high frequency and to stay balanced and simply just be with what is. And I really notice a difference when I'm not meditating, what that's like. And so the meditation that um, is the most simple that I have found works instantaneously for me is smiling meditation. So you hold a smile for minimum a minute, or as long as you can, and that's the meditation. And then pretty much it's very easy after that to maintain a smile throughout the day, or anytime if you're kind of wavering or not smiling, to just come back into it, like, yeah. um, I would like to touch back on the topic of Mahasamadhi. So going backwards or coming into this moment and talking about Mahasamadhi and suicide, I had mentioned. Ultimately, it's people choosing their exit door. But the thing also with suicide is, like, some people experience this great peace of mind. Um, and um, But ultimately, anything that is not furthering living in harmony with all that is and is killing life off in some way and causing harm, intentional harm, then that is an indication that something's off. Um, and so to hear that this person that I was interacting with over the past few days was about to take their life and then transitioned out of it and chose love was really miraculous. Um, yeah, so I feel like that's really what there is to share at this moment. Thank you for all of those who have supported myself and the heart followers around the world at different moments. Whether you have liked the videos or followed or sent donations in at different times for myself or others along our journey. For all of you who love the concept and want to be a heart follower, just by choosing to be a heart follower, you are. There's no special membership you need to pay for or anything you need to do except for choose love over and over again. And when you have the opportunity to contribute to people around you or moments or situations. Yeah, and I'd like to thank the love of my life for inspiring me to share my wisdom. I heard the song earlier, and I'm thankful for your love. And I know there's only more beauty and more life to be witnessed and experienced. And whether or not we are actually truly a divine union, or whether or not I was just meant to be propelled and inspired by the idea of you and me together, I'm thankful for all of it, the ups and the downs and the all of it, and our joys and our extreme expressions of foreverness and love and eternity together, to the get away from me and I don't want you and I don't need you and sort your own shit out and get away from me, or all these different expressions that us humans can create for whatever reasons are going on, pushing away and pulling together, and just the whole gamut of it. It's a trip. So um yeah, that's is there anything else for me to share in this moment? Yeah, I'd love to thank my friends, devout Thanksgiving for friends old and new, and for my family. I love you guys so much, and I thank you for all the love that you've given me, that I have the honor of sharing and spreading around the world. Thank you for loving me in the ways that you knew how, and always doing the best you can, and reminding me that I will always be your daughter, and that you will always be there for me. To receive such love and unconditional presence and support is really a gift, and I'm thankful that I've had that and that I have that. And no matter what life brings, no matter how our paths diverge or converge or whatever happens in life, I'm so thankful, and I wish you all, my family and every other family in existence, eternal loving awareness, eternal unity consciousness, eternal compassion, eternal harmony with all that is, eternal peace activated that you already are within your own self, and eternal ananda, eternal bliss, and laughter and joy and silliness and whatever it is that your soul came to experience, may you experience it to the fullest. And for those of you, if you're looking for something new, may it come to you with ease, and may you be inspired to express more love and to share more in this world. Uh, yeah. So I'm grateful. Thank you, Great Spirit, Great Mystery, God, Source, heart of all that is, heart of creation. Thank you for the honor of the technology that I have to send this transmission to all of the people who have nourished me and supported me, for my healthy, strong body and mind, and my heart that beats constantly so that I can keep being in this body and experience human experiences. Yeah, I wish you all your heart's desires, if it is so for the highest good, to experience all of it. And may you always have everything you need and not always what you want, because perhaps what you want is not what you need. And it is better to have what you need than what you want. So I wish you always to have your needs met, and when for your highest good, exceeded or surpassed. Aho Matakuyasin, all our relations. Thank you for all of you who tuned in, and for all of you who sent comments. And yeah. I release you to your highest good, everyone and everything. I release everyone and everything, my spirit is free. I release everyone and everything, my spirit is free. I release everyone and everything, my spirit is free. My energy stays with me, your energy stays with you. Namaskaram. Now, where is the end the live feed? This is maybe here. Are you sure that you want to stop streaming? Yes, I am sure.